today, so you guys are gonna have to.
I mean, he should be incorporated into every show, I feel like.
I want to, man. I want to, but I'm out of stories. All right, let's get this going. What is up, everybody? Welcome to the DNVR Nuggets podcast.
Let's go! Let's go!
Live from the studio.
The studio.
Live from the studio. You guys know what it is. Tuesday edition, off season. We're officially, but football starts. I feel like the real NBA off season begins.
Yeah.
So we're officially in those days. But we do have some fun stuff. I've wanted to talk about this for a while. Underrated X factor about the Denver Nuggets season.
Okay.
They have a rookie head coach.
It's the
Doesn't feel like it.
It's a huge X factor.
It doesn't feel like it because he did such a good job, David Adelman, in the playoffs. But I want to talk about all the decisions he has to make this year. So that's going to be a majority of our show. We might talk a little bit about Deron Holmes' upside. You guys have touched on this. I haven't been here for it, so I kind of want to talk about it, go back and forth. And we have some news and notes to help me. The man with the wind below his hat, Harrison Wind.
I'm wondering how Wolf 21's factoring into today's rundown.
Stay tuned. Everybody
Wondering
stay tuned.
where he's going to make an appearance.
I don't know if he will today.
That's
Wolf
disappointing.
21, very mixed. Some people love him. Some people don't.
So he's not like Jokic. Well,
Actually, he's very much like Jokic.
Actually, he's just like Jokic.
In every single way.
Wow.
And then over there, Brennan Vote.
Love the studio shows because you can safely wear shorts and flip
Right.
flops.
We're all wearing no pants.
No pants,
You would
baby.
never know.
No pants.
Sometimes I wear flip flops to the other studio, and then we got to throw a big lower third up there.
Alyssa,
just
did we go funky music for this Tuesday show? I feel like you're putting unnecessary
it.
pressure on us.
I love it.
Accidentally hit it, and I was like, oh.
Let it rock.
Music.
Damn.
for this
Alyssa's
one.
got high expectations for this show.
Yeah.
Oh boy, we better bring it. Come on, boys. Here we go.
What if we had a very somber...
Now we need to go to Wolf 21.
Yeah.
Crap. We're gonna have to. We're gonna start with some breaking news.
Really?
Breaking Denver Nuggets news.
Really?
Breaking.
Denver Nuggets have an exciting preseason game, as teased by one Ben Denzer.
baby.
International.
They are going to Vancouver to take on the Toronto Raptors on October 6th. I believe that's a Tuesday.
Okay.
That's the breaking news. I mean, it's kind of funny because it's being treated as a major deal, and it kind of is. You know, Canada. But I want to know, on a scale of 1 to 10 vote, how hyped are you for this preseason in Vancouver?
No, it doesn't. I mean, at that point, just play in Toronto. There's already a team. There's
already a team there.
But which is, by the way, I'm not trying to gatekeep basketball from our neighbors to the north. You know,
Our neighbors to the
get in on it. My point being, they're already in on it. So it's just sort of, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
If they went to a country where there was no NBA franchise, I might find it more exciting. However, I'm sure there's a real fishnet cast here. If you are a fan of this show who also lives in the Vancouver area and you're excited about
is
it,
sick.
sound off.
Well, even our
Oh
buddy.
my God, there's literally already one.
There you go.
Hell yes,
Hell yes,
Vancouver. I get to see Joker.
I get to see Joker. There you go.
International.
We also have our Northwest Nugs fan. I don't know what the commute's like from Seattle up to Vancouver, but I imagine it's not too bad.
Look it
So, but it is like, I mean, it is something. I do think that the team likely, I haven't heard anything official yet, or nothing's at least I should say out yet, but the team usually travels to some place. San Diego, the most common. So you get to spend a week.
They're going to San Diego for camp.
Is that out already? I didn't know.
I don't think it is, but everybody's been saying it.
Yeah, San Diego for camp, you get a week away to kind of really bond. And this year more than ever, this is a lot of new pieces. And then you get a little road trip up to our friends. What did you call it?
Our neighbors to the north.
Our
Neighbors to the north.
Yeah.
Yeah, we love the Canadians.
Maybe a little whale watching.
Oh,
Yeah.
I would get.
I've been to Vancouver once.
I hear it's phenomenal.
I was 17 years old.
It's not that young.
And me and my buddy drove there from Boulder.
Oh, wow.
We drove there because his brother was going to school at UW, and we drove up to Vancouver and gambled and drank at the casino right across the border the entire night, slept in our cars, then came back the next day.
This house, you sound like you haven't really been to Vancouver.
We slept in a parking garage in the casino.
This didn't make the list the other day? when
yeah.
you were talking?
No irony.
I
board
forgot
involved.
about it at the time, but it is firmly in my top 5.
3-hour drive from Seattle to Vancouver, if you're interested.
Had to go through the border. Border agent welcomed us back. It was great.
So that's one thing. The Nuggets do have that. We'll see. The rest of the schedule, by the way, should come out. We're almost at schedule week. It's only like 3 weeks away before the NBA drops its schedule, which is always a fake content day.
Yeah.
Which
We're going to do it.
But we're going to do it. But the preseason
We're going to
schedule,
predict every game.
Preseason schedule, I think, comes out even before that. So, hopefully we'll get to see all of the list of games. But the one thing we always remember is Denver's never home for these games.
The preseason games?
The preseason.
Yeah.
They always get like one home game.
Yeah.
So maybe they're doing the tour. They're just taking them out to other.
Do you remember when they played in that? They played the Lakers in that preseason game in San Diego in LeBron's first
Debut?
ever actual game as a
Vote.
Laker
Were you in-
on the wet court.
I was there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you were with me, right?
I was with you, yep.
Because we sat. This never gets to happen. We sat basically on the bench. We were where the
we were like the second row of assistants.
I
Yeah,
was way too short for that seat, man. I could not see a thing.
this is the stuff we look forward to. Is like, oh, we got close seats to this meaningless game.
That was the wet court. Remember when Malone said the court was wet?
Yeah, I do remember that.
That was the least
And it wasn't wet?
befitting. Like, he was unbelievable. I know it wasn't a real debut, but LeBron to LA. Could anything be bigger? Night one of the experience.
Yeah.
He got injured.
But then we're just in a place with aquarium paintings on the wall
Yeah.
and a wet floor.
It was pretty old.
And it was so bizarre.
Do you guys remember that stadium? That was where they filmed the famous Band-Aid scene from Almost Famous.
That's right.
So that's what was
wow.
that's what I remember about
Yeah.
that.
Wow.
More news and notes from around Nugget Sphere. Jokic returning from China. His China trip has ended.
Yeah.
This has actually been a sneaky fun thing to follow.
Yeah, it's been awesome.
Jokic is such a good fish out of water, and China is the ultimate out of water. You know, like whenever athletes would do that, because other athletes have obviously had big shoe deals or just done things in China. It's always kind of funny. But Jokic, I just feel like has been especially interesting to follow.
Well, it seems like he's really enjoyed it.
I mean, it seems like it. I imagine he had a busy schedule, man.
Yeah, but it feels like he's having a great time. I mean, he's got his brother there, one of them, Pneumonia. Which,
They are smiling a lot.
Yeah, they're trying food. They're racing trains. That was funny. They're just like, hanging out with tons of people, doing little meet and greets and stuff. It looked like he's enjoying it. Yeah, here he is racing the train.
This was awesome.
Somebody was asking, is Jokic working out this offseason? Here's your case in point.
He looks good, don't you think? I mean, this is one of the things we do.
He's
Muscle
literally
Watch.
trying to outrun a
there
train. That's
he
how hard
goes.
he's training.
Look at his arms at the side. That is pretty awesome. Honestly, though, like he looks healthy. Looks like he's having fun. This is such an interesting offseason for him because he's going to go right into Eurobasket training here very shortly. And it's like his offseason's over. Yoke's offseason. I hope you enjoyed it. It's work time.
I wonder if there's a bit of the turning the page of just sort of you're not going to get to spend a whole summer break back in Sombor like you did
Ever
when you
again.
were like a child, Like this is just, like I said to Win, I know this is about 361, but this is kind of face of the league behavior, to go out, do a China trip, get ready for international basketball before you come back to contend for a ring with your NBA team.
Yeah.
We're so used to not seeing Jokic in the summers, and it's been almost weird kind of having these glimpses of him enjoying himself seemingly in good shape. And I think the China trip is just it seems like a rite of passage for true cultural basketball stars. And so through 361, like there's another path to Jokic, even if he never conventionally sort of grabs the American face of the league stuff by the horns, just kind of continue to grow his profile and become at least internationally, as big as he deserves to be.
He also, I don't know if you know this was taught to me by Z Ming, who covers the Nuggets here locally, but for a Chinese outlet. I don't actually remember which one it is, but a Chinese outlet. And I asked her one time Yoke's nickname, because like the literal translations always kind of lead to awkward nicknames. Do you know Jokic's?
I've heard it, but I forget it.
Professor or teacher Jokic.
Right.
But it's also a slang. The word that for like professor is also slang for porn star Jokic.
Perfect.
Nice.
Yeah.
Big
amazing.
honey.
So I think it's technically professor, but yeah. But there
Didn't
you go.
somebody else on the Nuggets have a really funny Chinese
Jamal
nickname?
Murray was Oral Mamba.
Well, I think that one was a little less.
Porn star, Oral Mamba. Like, what is going on
That
here?
one was on the
I feel
nose.
like these are not coincidence.
The professor. Well, I think Jamal's is maybe a little different reason.
That was a reaction, I think. Yeah.
But Yoke does look
yeah,
happy.
that happened.
It is interesting. And now he goes straight into Eurobasket, and it's like
It's insane. I'm sorry. Oral Mamba is insane.
it is insane.
we lost wind.
I wish I could remember what Aaron Gordon. He had a great one too, and I can't remember what it was. I'm surprised AG didn't join him
Is
though.
it Pot Mamba? Just kidding. That's a joke.
Flower Mamba. Nuggets signed Curtis Jones to their final two-way spot. something that Harrison Wind was clamoring for on the timeline.
I was clamoring for
Yeah,
it.
some people say he was trying to force the Nuggets' hand. That's how vocal he was about Curtis
I wonder
Jones.
if I did.
Job well done.
Job well done. Mission accomplished. In all sincerity, I don't know how I feel about this one. I like Curtis Jones. He was one of the guys I interviewed when I was at camp. Yeah. And what I'll say about you, he reminds me in some ways, personality-wise, of like a mix between Monte Morris and Corey Brewer, in that he's very radiant. He has like a good aura. You know what I mean? Do you know what I mean? Like he just is one of these. If you remember Corey Brewer,
Or a Mamba.
Wind, come back in the fold here. Get back over here.
Not the Oro Mamba, the
No,
Aura Mamba.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Monte had summer league aura.
I mean, for sure. And I don't mean, again, I'm not saying aura. What I'm saying is like happiness that, like he just seems like a guy that would be fun to be around. And so I think that's a sneaky important trait of your two ways is they can't be a drag.
Yeah.
But that being said, I liked what I saw from him. I think he's a guy, but he would fall into the category of prospect to me.
Yes.
Where we talked about these two ways as being guys that the Nuggets could just bring up if they need. I don't know if he falls in that category for me.
He's a potential guy. He's a
Yeah.
guy that you think has a ceiling. Spencer Jones, I don't think he has a huge ceiling. He's kind of ready-made. Curtis Jones, I think has like a ceiling that he can grow into. That's why I was excited that they went for him instead of another lower ceiling guy. Like EJ Liddell would have fallen into the category of like the Spencer Joneses of the world, I feel like.
Yeah.
Whereas,
Although, what is he? EJ Liddell he's got the Jimmer Fredette where he's too good for summer league.
is he?
Well, I'm just saying, like,
Is he too good?
The traits that you give him give him the ball and he's going to get you a bucket. But will he in the NBA?
No.
So that's the point.
Yeah. I like Curtis Jones's game. He reminds me of Jeff Teague.
Okay.
Oh.
I see a lot of Jeff Teague in Curtis Jones. He's kind of a bucket. He can really score it. He can shoot it. And I mean, he just popped, I thought, at summer, like with his scoring and passing too.
Yeah.
He was easily the best unsigned player on Denver's summer league.
He was
roster in
clearly
terms of
the best
audition.
guy to me by the end of it. Clearly.
Yeah, I think he passed his audition with flying colors. There's an argument to make. You could just go back to the Jay Huff thing where you could sneak a big in a two-way and because there are question marks still possibly about that part of the rotation, although I guess Big Val's coming now. So it's you could argue maybe there's more practical utility in adding a big. But I also I do think I think if you're a healthy contender, your two-way signings matter insofar as it's better to do a good job than a bad job. But with all due respect to Tamar Bates and Spencer Jones and Curtis Jones, hopefully we don't have to hear from them.
See, Spencer Jones is the one guy in theory I could see having a role if somebody is hurt, but he does feel different than. I mean, we didn't see a very good outing from Tamar Bates.
Curtis Jones crushed Tamar Bates individually. Like he was way better.
Yeah.
And that's not to say that they can't. Denver, I think, is in a.
No, you're right.
They're past the. If all goes well, their plan A should be better than two-way.
Look,
contracts.
they've gone recently for more plug and play guys in two-way spots.
Yeah.
And maybe now they're pivoting more towards, all right, let's see if this guy can really like grow into a difference maker for us. Maybe more the route that they went, 2016, 2017, 2018.
And by the way, I know Trey Alexander was a guy I know a lot of fans liked. I think Trey Alexander wanted more opportunity because if he came back, ends up signing a two-way with New Orleans. And if he came back to Denver, it's like, great, that's awesome. But how much would he actually play?
You're still in the same position you were last year.
I mean, he's probably behind Pickett still.
Definitely.
And so like Pickett would have to have a bad stint for him to pass him. Like he'd have to play bad for 10 games. And then on top of that, Pickett's not in the rotation either, I don't think. So I think Trey Alexander, Denver would love to have brought it back, but he looked around and he's like, how do I get on the court? And I don't know if Denver is the wire.
There's still a Monte Morris path maybe for him in New Orleans, or you're on the 2A, but actually we need you for half the year.
Oh, dude, New Orleans is so bad, he'll play 50 games there.
I mean, there's a chance New Orleans falls apart, and they were looking at a guy like him, so we'll have to wait and see. All right, we're going to take a break. On the other side, let's get into our main topic here for the next couple segments. David Adelman, what choices does he have to make this year that will have ripple effects on how the year goes? We'll get to that.
Shout out to Empire Today.
Shout 'em out.
Empire Today, the best floors out there. That's all they do. They just do floors. So go with the experts. when you are doing your floors, redoing them, putting in new floors, fixing them up, home business, whatever it might be. Empire Today, that's who you got to go with. Don't go to those big box stores. Don't even think about it. Go with the pros. They'll walk you through the whole process. They'll make sure you know what you have to do every single step of the way. There's going to be no surprises with Empire Today. And that's really important when you're doing a huge job like your floors. It's really expensive. It takes a lot of time. You want to go with people who will walk you through the entire process. With Empire Today, you get clear, upfront, all-inclusive pricing, plus schedule installation as soon as the next day. Schedule a free in-home estimate today. Some things are just better at home. DNVR listeners can receive a $350 discount when using the promo code DNVR. A $350 discount with the code DNVR. Restrictions apply. Visit EmpireToday.com/DNVR for full details.
You could get that $350 off. You could go and open a new account with First Bank and maybe earn $300 more. It's not just discounts. You can stack some paper here by listening to the DNBA show. Whether on the road or at home or somewhere in between, First Bank makes banking easy, convenient, and secure. First Bank's mobile banking app allows you to check balances, pay friends, manage your money anytime, anywhere. Banking is a mobile game now, folks. On the go, at your convenience. And of course, in that context, security is of the utmost importance. So let First Bank help you stay on track. If you're ready for better banking and the chance to earn a little extra, head to efirstbank.com/bonus. That's efirstbank.com/bonus to open your account. Bank how you want, when you want with First Bank. Certain restrictions and requirements apply. Member FDIC.
Man, I just saw this update here. We're back, by the way. Hit that like button for us. Help us get everybody in here. But I just saw Cam Johnson is on another pod tomorrow. The young man in the three.
He loves potting.
He has done every podcast. By the way, we didn't even talk about this. Did you guys watch the KCP pod?
I saw a couple clips.
No, I watched the whole thing on it. And, there was some good stuff in there. But it is funny how many players have a pod.
Everybody's got a pod,
You
man.
wouldn't have thought KCP is
I don't
a podcast host.
Yeah, I don't know. You could tell.
Is he the host?
Yeah, he is. He's like the.
He's doing reads?
No, he's not. I don't think he's doing the
I don't know
reads.
if he's doing reads. Yeah.
Cam Johnson.
That'd be awesome.
Cam Johnson, though, he could very easily veer off into a full-time podcasting career if he had
very articulate.
If he just didn't like basketball anymore.
Yeah, very grounded. They try to get him into the conspiracy. I mean, every athlete, they kind of do the same thing. It's like, what if we talk about conspiracy theories that might go viral? And it's almost like
Conspiracy Corner, yeah. Who hasn't thought of that?
ours are real though.
We're all
Ours are
doing
real.
the same show here.
Throw a little tinfoil on.
And Cam Johnson just not having much of the conspiracy conversation, which is great, but that would not go viral.
Yeah.
Like the lottery was definitely not rigged.
Cam, come on our podcast.
I'm sure we'll get him. All right, back into this now. David Adelman taking the wheel. So David Adelman did a phenomenal job on short notice, 3 games, and then goes to the playoffs. And as great as he was, as much as the team seems to buy into him, I think we feel like we know more about what he'll be like as a head coach than we actually know. Agreed. Because it was such a unique situation. Now, I do know there was one, I think, the regular season is about managing egos and things happen as a little disaster. And how does the coach navigate these things? In a playoffs, I think you get a lot less of that because there's just pressure. Things move quick and it's like whatever. And I know that they went through at least one of these, small little tensions in the locker room, overcame it.
Yeah.
But I feel like that's the thing we really don't know, man. A season's long. There's ups and downs. The team comes together. They fall apart. And we really don't know how he'll handle those, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I think we don't. And I think we have some quotes on the record about everyone's preferences about how they'd like things to be handled. And I did think that the Jared Dudley and JJ Barea hires kind of fell in line with some of what we've heard. So to speak clearly, that would be David Adelman talking about really wanting to let the players work on the ego stuff, the personality stuff, the potential conflict so that he can walk in and just do X's and O's. Now, their lead assistant right now is Jared Dudley, whose reputation is not X's and O's. But I think it's a guy who players like, players respect, players listen to, who understands what it's like to be in a locker room. So I almost wonder if you have this sort of reverse kind of thing from Malone, bigger picture, bigger strokes, DA kind of really working on the X's and O's to even still as the head coach, GA will kind of focus more on that side of things. And I think sort of locker room management, ego management might be a Jared Dudley job, or if not just a Jokic, Gordon, Murray job.
Yeah. It's a role that I almost feel like Adelman, it's not one he really wants to have a huge involvement in.
Yeah.
Like he doesn't really want to be, I don't feel like, the disciplinarian, or just a dictator type of presence in the locker room.
I agree.
He wants the players to work out, their issues themselves. He wants to talk things out in public. He wants to have, everything above board. And I do think it's really going to be interesting how that, progresses throughout the season. I do feel like he's got a good enough relationship with these guys already. That certainly helps.
Yeah.
That transition can be a lot easier.
Right.
And I also think, based on some of the moves that were made and maybe some of the more moves that could be coming, like this locker room is in a place where they have the personalities, they have the experience and leadership to police themselves for the most part, especially when things are going well, towards, kind of well.
Yeah.
When things are really bad, I still have some questions about, who's going to be the voice, who's going to be, keeping everybody together and making sure nothing frays. But I think generally speaking, they're in a good situation to police themselves and, just talk things out mostly. And I think that's what Adelman wants.
Yeah, and I think, Vogt, you make a good point, though, about Dudley. That's his area of expertise. So maybe
sure.
it's a thing that he handles more on that side. And I don't expect there to be big issues, but issues pop up for everybody.
Yeah.
Like happy marriages have arguments, like this even happens.
They happen for winning teams, too. They're
Right.
just not problems.
Yeah,
You know,
they're not
The
problems.
Nuggets had drama in their championship year.
Yeah.
Yep.
Several instances of it.
Stylistic differences here. Let's start on the offensive end. Number one thing I'm curious about with David Adelman, and to me, I actually think this is an essential thing that he has to do, but he hasn't really mentioned this as a key thing, and that's more movement in the offense. And I'm going to parlay that alongside more freedom for Christian Brown and Cam Johnson. And what I mean by that is not give them the ball and clear out type of stuff. It's just when you're running offense with Jokic, what is the line of acceptability for them to try to create off of the two-man game and just keep the ball moving? And I think that more movement off ball, just running Cam off screen, moving everybody, cutting a little bit more, and then those guys being able to, hey, catch the ball, make a move, try to attack around a screen on Jokic, try to make the pocket pass, try to do something. You obviously don't want to up your turnovers, but I do think it's important for when they get to the playoffs that this is not the Murray-Jokic two-man game with three finishers, but it's the Murray-Jokic two-man game with three connectors, three guys that can bring it to the next spot. So to me, that those two, more movement and more freedom for your secondary ball handlers, that to me is the biggest question I have.
Yeah. And that'd be a huge, I think, positive change from where the offense has been the last several years. I mean, I feel like they've, at times been too reliant on it. Look, it got them a championship, so it worked out great. But specifically over the, the last couple of years, I don't feel like there's been a lot of innovation and improvement just from within offensively. I feel like they've kind of just been running the same kind of stuff. And it's been okay. It's been good. I think it can be a lot better. Those are the type of things that I think could make it better.
But Vogt, have you heard him say this in any of his availabilities? Because he's talked about a few details, but I haven't heard him say this.
One thing he said about Cam is that he's not a one or two dribble guy.
Yeah.
Which...
So they might have felt more like they had to be restrictive.
Yeah, that's some pretty blatant juxtaposition. He won't say it, I'll say it for him. Michael Porter Jr. was, if that, a one or two dribble guy. And so is Cam a guy that's allowed to, you're in the corner, close out's a little overzealous, make a read. You know what I mean? Put the ball on the floor, whether it's to score or to make another play for a teammate. Not just sort of be a finisher in an offense, but a connective piece. The sort of conduit between I think like the hammers of this offense that are Murray, Gordon, and Jokic. Can CB and Cam kind of be the in between stuff? And CB I think is I have more questions about how much he'll be allowed to do or asked to do than Cam, who I think will probably pretty quickly earn the trust to be a 4 or 5 dribble guy if he's decisive within that.
Yeah. those are the things to me that I think are just going to be so big. And I'm so curious to see. Like Christian Brown, to me, this is one of the things I've said about him. He has a better handle than he shows off. He's very restrictive in it. And I think it's a good thing. But this is a regular season where I can see the ball popping more than ever. I could see more guys to run two-man game. And even CB, he's not Torrey Craig. You know what I mean? Like Torrey Craig, every time he would turn the corner, you'd be like, oh my God, one covering your eyes. To me, he's a guy that might have a little bit more creation in him, and you might have to live with the growth curve there. But to me, that's how you get it going. And then guys like Tim Hardaway Jr., it's not like they're Steve Nash out here, but they can put, to your point, they're not one or two dribble guys. I think you can trust them a little bit more. So that's the part I'm just so curious about. Is there more movement, or does it kind of feel like more or less the same offense? And then you go to the bench identity. This is something Denver's never done well. They bring in Big Val. The one thing that Adelman has really been aggressive that caught all of our ears is he sees the offense being like Jokic. We're going to run that. So this is my big question. Another big question for him is, does that bench have an identity? Yeah. Or is the identity the just survive till we get out, try to, whatever?
It can't be that again. We've done that for the last, 4 years or so.
But do they have the pieces in place? I mean, you have to imagine your stagger has something with Jamal Murray on the court with Valanciunas. Yeah. So now do we have the two-man game? Is that what the identity is? And now it's, Peyton and Strother and maybe Tim Hardaway, maybe Bruce.
You can put Cam Johnson out there too. A bench unit around Jamal Murray, Cam Johnson, and Valanciunas
should be good.
Should be great.
Just throw Tim Hardaway Jr. out there. Yeah, I think you have the personnel.
Tim Hardaway and Peyton Watson.
Yeah. I think you have the personnel to try to play real basketball for the first time. And I don't even know if it has to be so complicated. Can you just run pick and rolls that the defense responds to, and that free Jamal up at all, or don't free him up, but Big Val is open running to the rim? We've just seen so little of these things when Jokic is off the floor. And to me, it's less about put Big Val at the elbow and let him be some sort of basketball genius as it is. If that guy is open, you got to guard him. If that guy's rolling to the rim, you have to react. And there have been some centers that, frankly, if I were a defense and Zeke Naji set a pick, I honestly don't even know if I'd blink, So it's just different.
Yeah.
Or can be different.
The last offensive question I have here is fast or slow. And I think when people think of this, they think of pace. Do you get out on the fast break? And I like when Denver plays with pace, especially when they had Russell Westbrook. They don't have him this year. So I expect them to slow down in some way. But to me, it's not about the pace number. It's not about the fast break number. Denver, if I believe in ball movement and people movement and leaning into that, you only have 24 seconds. To me, I'm so curious if Adelman has an emphasis on getting into your actions in the first 6 seconds of the offense. Forget what the pace number is, but do you give yourself the opportunity for 8 passes in a possession? Or are we constantly starting with 14 on the clock, and now you only have time to run 1 or 2 reversals? To me, he's commented and basically said pace is overrated, but I don't know if he means that as a stat or as an identity, because half-court pace to me would be something I would emphasize.
And I think that's something a lot of teams will probably take from the Pacers.
Yeah, the great example.
They are the number one proponent of getting into your stuff quick. It's something that made them great and made them such a tough team to guard. Halliburton and Nembhard just racing the ball up the floor. It puts the defense on their heels. And the Nuggets, they've been a team, at least with their starters out there, that walk the ball up. So I would love to see more of it.
Those are the things offensively. There's a lot on defense, and then there's some variables and questions about the rotation. So let's take a break, and on the other side, we'll get into that side of the floor and some of the intangibles.
Denver's best roofers, it's Red Hawk Roofing. These guys were out at the golf tournament the other day. I was out there last Friday. They had two foursomes, 2 Red Hawk Roofing foursomes, just like you knew when Red Hawk Roofing was coming up to the tee box.
They're the best, man.
You knew they were coming.
They're true DNVR people, man.
Yeah.
That's why they attend our events. Come to the bar.
Great vibes out there. Check them out if you have any roofing needs. Denver's best roofers. Go with the pros at Red Hawk Roofing. Get your roof checked once a year. It's preventative medicine for the home you pour your life into. Make sure you're covered. There's no project too small for them. Long-lasting relationships with their customers, quality materials, decades of experience. They'll give you a free, no-obligation roof and property inspection. You can always, count on them for a free in-depth photo report for all inspections as well. Support these guys like you support us here at DNVR. Give them your business if you need anything with your roof, home, business, whatever it might be. 720-771-8921, redhawkroofing.com.
All righty, back here, segment 3.
We have
two more.
reads.
It's all right.
Only been doing this show for
Sometimes
B has me all mixed up.
Sometimes they
it's
sneak
not
up
called
on you.
Studio B anymore.
Oh no! Raising Cane's is partnering with the Big Snoop Do Double G. Of course they are. Who isn't? There's gonna be a whole generation of people that just know Snoop Dogg as a guy who does commercials. But I digress. He's teamed up with Raising Cane's. This one's awesome to celebrate National Chicken Finger Day. Sunday, July
National
20
Chicken Finger Day.
Yeah, Sunday, July 27th, and this celebration.
Bro, that's coming up this Sunday.
It's very close, Adam. This celebration won't be something you will want to miss because Cane's is giving 1 free chicken finger with the purchase of a boxed combo all day long.
This is
July
the best day
27th.
ever to go to Cane's.
Be sure to set your reminders. Get ready for the best holiday celebration. Check out raisingcanes.com to learn more. See you at Cane's Sunday, July 27th. Raising Cane's chicken fingers.
Get that cane sauce, though. That's what you want. That cane sauce is
money.
That's what makes it.
One love.
All righty, are we back now?
Now
Back.
All right,
Now
we're back here.
Continue
Segment
the
3.
show. Yeah.
Let's go to the defensive end of the court. One thing that he has talked, again, openly about, or actually I shouldn't say openly, Andrew Munson let it out that they were going to be trying more zone and that it was a thing they wanted to look at. They did it a lot in the playoffs.
It worked great in the playoffs.
It worked great. This is one I'm very curious about. I am a little concerned about Denver's defensive upside,
Yeah, me
especially
too.
in the playoffs. I think that's one, like people are really concerned about the point guard situation. To me, it's like I think Denver has everything they need for a playoff run, but I'm not sure they have defense. Why I think Peyton Watson's so important. But zone could be an interesting thing if they invest in it all year, and not just one zone. But are they going to try this year to experiment with multiple things? And is there a learning curve there? Maybe that's something that they have to like sacrifice the first 20 games because we're throwing in 4 different zones and presses.
Zone is so tough during the regular season, especially because you just don't practice a lot.
Yeah.
Yep.
In the playoffs, you have days off. You have actual time where you're not running a full practice, but you're out on the court walking through a zone and coverage
Right.
and stuff.
And guys are listening.
Yeah, and guys are locked in because it's the playoffs, so people pick it up. Regular season, it's so tough to implement that stuff. That's why, like, you got to have a plan for it, and you got to implement a lot of it in the preseason. So I would think if Adelman wants to run a lot with that, they're going to be working on it a ton of training camp.
You know, it's something that I wonder if it sort of flows in terms of a flow chart from reading out how much effort you're going to get from the starting 5 in terms of defense in the regular season. Last year was the clearest example. Part of it led to Malone's downfall as a part of a larger picture. They just didn't want to do it last year until they had to. And then when they had to, now granted they went to zone, considerably more effective than at any point they had shown was their ceiling in the regular season. So the first question to me is with Cam in there instead of Mike, but also with potentially more depth and the knowledge that you might not have to play all game long every single night, are guys willing to just give more individually? And so if the answer is no, throw a lot of zone out there. But if the answer is yes, you know, maybe that's something you kind of save till the playoffs. Because I think it played a factor in last season. I mean, there were personnel issues, of course. There were roster issues, of course. They lacked perimeter defenders. But I also just thought the 5 guys out there really didn't want to do it in the regular season. And I'm curious to see if they will for David Adelman.
Well, here's the interesting one. Defense was all Malone talked about.
All he talked about.
All he talked about. And I always thought with Malone, one, I think that maybe the team had tuned out a little bit of it because at a certain point, you're not getting any better, but it's complained about every day. Maybe the team is not hearing it. But here's what I wonder about. How much does he value it versus offense in the regular season? And what I mean by that is you look at Indiana, good defensive team, but they were capable of becoming great. And I think Denver is in the same boat. They'll always be in the same boat with Jokic and with Jamal. They can be capable of being great, especially in the clutch and especially in a playoffs when you can go all out. But there's no way they can in the regular season. And I'm curious how much he looks at that and says, regular season, I want us to try all these different schemes. And we're going to throw in some zones. We're going to do some full court presses. We're going to do some wonky stuff. But we're going to win with offense in the regular season. And we need to be adequate defensively so that we can turn it up in the postseason. I just am curious if that's his approach. Or if we get to November and he's pulling the Malone where it's like, I told these guys that they think they're going to defend like this. And the guys are like, the playoffs are 6 months away, bro. Like,
Well, no one's watching film.
watching
That was an all-time I know I'm getting fired moment in hindsight, by the way.
There were signs.
There were
Nobody's watching the film.
But I just wonder what his intensity will be there because he's an offensive guy. So
Yeah.
is he going to value offense more than
Well,
Malone did?
I think Adelman is going to be more. He's going to be more tempered than Malone. I don't think he's going to have some of the rage timeouts and some of the blow ups post game that Malone had.
Yeah.
Malone just runs so much more intense, I think, than Adelman. Adelman by nature is I think way more even keel and just way more. He's not going to overreact, I feel like, to games. In a way that not necessarily Malone overreacted, but the way Malone responded to a lot of losses. I think Adelman will kind of just brush everything off a little more and keep the long view. Part of that is because it's his I think that's just his nature, and he's probably not going to feel like he's on the hot seat like Michael Malone was over the last year or so.
I hope he sinks his teeth into it offensively, the innovation, because wind has been big on this point the whole time. I think there is something to look. It's going to be top 5, top 6. Jokic is there. We don't, as long as we play defense, we're going to win. That logic is easy to follow, but it does sort of feel, if you just took a different approach and said the sentence, like, how do you not have the best offense in the league with Jokic?
Totally,
year in and year out. To that end, it feels a little bit like possibly a disservice to the squad. I mean, even with the defense stuff, I think there's a version of a Jokic team that is so potent offensively that just competence on defense is more than enough, not necessarily dominance. And I wonder if there's a version with this roster that they can get there of just, I mean, yeah, it's not the peak KD Warriors, but guarding them every night is so daunting, so exhausting, because it's not just guarding the 2-man game, which is hard enough, but it just goes in all these unpredictable ways. And probably the best offensive player we've ever seen is a part of the best offense we've ever seen at one.
Well, how you have the best offense in the league is you score when Jokic is off the court.
Yeah,
that's the reason they've had not the top offense or second best offense in the league.
But don't you feel like there's even another level? And I don't necessarily mean this in the playoffs where things get hard, but in the regular season, man, I feel like there's another level to this.
I mean, they score pretty damn well with Jokic.
But Jamal Murray can go up a level in October, November than what we've seen. Cam Johnson, I think, can add an extra ball handler, than what you've seen. So I think even there's just marginal. Because here's what I'm getting at: Malone almost never talked about the offense.
Yeah,
it was never a thing.
They never worked on it.
He said I don't really think about the offense.
And maybe Adelman's the same. Maybe this is a coaching thing, and they know what we don't, and so it's like we have to focus on it. But I do wonder if can we get to an X amount of wins easy? Can we beat the Wizards just with better offense? We're going to do this. And I
don't know. They're tough, man.
The more I watch the NBA and how it evolves, I just think that the regular season is just get through it. Work on some things over the course of it, but get through it and try to bank wins.
And then on the flip side, all right, I'll make this rotation, this extra rotation, this second effort, because I've got 16 points tonight and it's fun to play on offense, which I do think is part of it sometimes.
Totally.
It is a little hard. And as much as I think Jokic is different than Luka, Jamal plus Jokic, sometimes you are standing and waiting. Or maybe that I should say Jamal plus Jokic plus Malone. And it'll be different with David Adelman. I hope so. That'd be interesting.
Some variables here. More rest for Jokic. It's so easy to say. Michael Malone himself said it last year going into the season. We got to find more. What happened? Most minutes per game of his career.
Have you ever stumbled upon one of those Malone clips of him talking about the bench?
No.
He had some
stumbled upon. Where would I stumble?
I don't know.
Upon
just come up on the timeline or something. He just had some all-time wild quotes the last year or so about praying for life when Jokic is off the court. Yeah. And you look back at those that's crazy that he said that, man.
The bench is sitting there geez, F us, I guess.
Yeah, I know.
We pray, you coach.
Yeah. Got to find God in those moments.
And look, David Adelman, I mean, he just signed a deal. I don't know that he's entering the season on a hot seat or anything like that. I think the Nuggets are going to give him a leash here, but it's easy to say rest Jokic, but then when your team is hemorrhaging points, it's all right, get out there. That's what Malone fell into. I'm just curious how much. Maybe this is a question we'll never know the answer to because the Nuggets are doing so well that it's easy to rest him.
Yeah.
But I am curious if we get into January and the Nuggets are tied for 3rd/4th, and it's I don't know, maybe I'll just play him on this back-to-back, even though he played 40 last night to get us over this hump. I'm curious there. The next one is the new rotation, and this is the big one for me. Michael Malone, one of his signatures of his coaching was that he played the starters, he'd do a little stagger, and then he'd play the entire bench with one player. Is that what we see here? You just mentioned Murray and Cam off the bench. Like, okay, that makes sense. Most coaches do that. Is Adelman going to do that, or is it more like Malone style?
I actually think the single biggest and most intriguing rotation story around David Adelman is if he changes Jokic's rotation at all. Does Nikola Jokic continue to play the whole first quarter?
I think Jokic likes it, and he's so good.
It's a good point.
But you can only do so many things with your rotation if you have that set in stone.
Maybe.
So that is actually like the number one thing I'm wondering about. Is there a chance that maybe we go back to like Jokic playing
9.
the first 8 minutes?
8, ooh.
Because if you remember, that's what he did, up, I think, including the championship regular season, the last couple of years, they just shifted into this. We're playing him pretty much the whole first quarter.
Try not to blow it in the second, everyone.
Yeah. But I wonder if there's some tweak to Jokic's minutes, and that allows you to really open up what you can do with him off the court.
That's a great question. I think Adam made a good point. This is one area where superstars tend to have a lot of input.
Yeah.
A lot of input. So, but I mean, Jokic just seems to be flexible with this stuff too. I mean, he doesn't hate taking on developmental minutes or unorthodox lineups. So maybe Adelman asked that of him.
And I think Jokic would love to play with some all bench lineups.
Really?
I think he would love
Bruce,
to play with
Tim
some
Hardaway.
3 bench, 2 starter lineups.
Okay.
I think that's the kind of stuff that like gets him going and gets his brain really working. I think mixing that stuff in during the regular season would be awesome.
CB and Bruce, Cam,
Whoever.
and Peyton Watson or something like that,
whoever.
where you just have, I don't know. I am curious for that as well. I did, and I also think Big Val, sitting on the bench for the first 12 minutes, that's like 30 minutes of clock time. So I do also wonder, now that you have a competent center, it's like, let's not let him get cold. Let's bring him in a little bit early and play him an extended stint. And Jokic gets a good long rest. Because in that stagger, you play the first 8 minutes, you probably come out for 8 minutes, and then you come in another 8. That's about right. That's 16 minutes, gets you to 32 if you copy that in the second half. So maybe that's kind of how this goes. That would be a really interesting adjustment to see if that's the direction they go. But then there's personnel choices, and I think this is the big one. So now, for me, the number one is, how much does he commit to Peyton Watson? And I don't have an easy answer for this one. You guys know I believe that Peyton Watson is in line for a big leap. I think that he had the most going against him in this last couple years. Just not an excuse, but I think that I think there's more that he had to show, and I think he's going to make a big leap this offseason. But he's still an investment. He's still a project. And I'm just curious if I believe ownership and front office feels like he's worth the investment, but coaching, is it tough love? Is it we're sticking with you? Like, we don't know.
It'd be a hell of a statement after all their quotes with the obvious built-in context and subtext after Malone's departure of just, we want to embrace playing guys more, giving guys more.
Right.
It'd be a hell of a statement to then not do that with Peyton right now. I mean, Peyton does slot as the AG spell right now, no? I mean,
to me, he's a small forward. That's what's exciting about it. But when you look at the rotation,
he's a power forward.
he's the backup power
in this
forward.
current depth chart.
Yeah. Maybe that's,
But that's also exciting because he's really one guy that has a clear path to minutes if you look at it that way.
if he's a power forward.
Yeah. But I agree, he's a small forward.
right. So that's right off the bat. Is that putting him in a position and behind the 8 ball a little bit? So that's a good question.
Behind the 8 ball.
I know, that was so good.
But he's the guy, right? Oh, I didn't even realize I did that. If you once you get past the veterans, unquestionably playable good guys, to me, you go right to Peyton Watson. So,
and then there's the question of what's his role, because this is the other thing I've thought with Peyton is he's kind of plays the dunker. Maybe he goes out to the 3-point line, but you're not trying to throw him to him unless you have to. Is he a guy that there's more cutting and more like you use him more screen? Like, is there something you do and say, we're going to try to get this out of him? Maybe even let him dribble a little bit, which didn't go well in this last year, too often, but I think he has it in him. So is that something you do? I'm just curious, all of those things, or if he takes, what I would say the Malone approach was we're not doing anything for you. Go out there and earn the next thing. And it works for guys like CB. Is that what you do with Peyton this year? Just, hey, go play the dunker, defend well. And if you do that well for a month, maybe we'll run one play for you every now and then.
Yeah. Was it Peyton who had the injury at training camp last year?
Last year's hamstring, yeah.
So that
Big deal.
got his season off to a rough start. And
behind the 8 ball again.
he was behind the 8 ball again. and he never really like found the like really solid footing in the rotation and with Malone's trust. Like that's why the preseason and training camp could be so huge for him, because if he starts the season ahead of the 8 ball, that's not even a phrase.
Ahead of the 8 ball.
That like will do so much for him. Just considering where he is in his career and just this coaching staff and the depth chart, a good preseason for him would be massive.
And I'll bring it back one more time to the excellent point made by Vlatko in his farewell interview with DNVR Nuggets. How many Jokic minutes does Peyton Watson get? It is one thing to be a part of the rotation as a developmental piece. It's another thing to get minutes alongside 15, which is A, the end goal. It's what you're developing towards. But B, the easiest way to see what you got in a competent environment, because he lifts all tides.
The best thing he can do is come back with a 3-point shot, though, because the finishing and stuff, I know it gets frustrating. But to me, he'll play if he can knock down the corner 3. If he's on the court and he's like a 36, 37% shooter, it's just to the point where you're like, we don't mind if he gets these looks. I mean, it doesn't feel like that's going to happen, but we'll see. You're all right. Do your thing.
You know what? From the corners, he was not bad last year.
That's right. Yeah.
Like in the regular season. I think in the playoffs, it's a shot as opposed to letting Jokic touch the ball with a clean look. You give it to him every time.
He was solid from the corners last year.
But in the regular season, so to Adam's point, I mean, it's something he can do. And Adelman has been very effusive about this. You know, we as fans, we get really upset when it's like, just get the ball to Jokic. Stop shooting these shots. The Nuggets feel the opposite. You're an NBA player. If they left you open in the corner, shoot the ball. It's the top way to make life easier for Jokic. So I hope that's prioritized and emphasized, and I hope it manifests for Peyton.
I think the backup point guard situation is interesting for him to kind of navigate. You know, even if you are just going with Bruce Brown, like how do you run your offense when that's there? Is it only when Jokic is on the court that you go no point guards? Do you extend this out to a Jalen Pickett and try to run those options?
Right.
I'm kind of curious. That one to me is another question.
Point guard?
Yeah, just how does he handle that? Not even personnel, but...
Yeah, man, it's going to be interesting because, like, thinking back to the championship season, I don't think we loved the Bruce Brown backup point guard minutes. We didn't love him to such a effect that they brought in Reggie Jackson.
Right.
So that was obviously something that they weren't 100% confident in heading into the playoffs.
But in the playoffs, it worked very nicely because those minutes were largely with Jokic as opposed to without.
Correct. The regular season's the bigger question there.
So does Adelman, that's my point, is maybe we see fewer Murray Jokic lineups this year. I mean, it's entirely possible that we lose 3 or 4 minutes where Murray and Jokic were on the court together because Murray is now alongside just different configurations that don't include Jokic.
Yeah, maybe.
I think Duran and Zeke are interesting. Because you guys just penciled in Peyton Watson for the 4.
Yeah.
I liked what I saw from Duran as a prospect at Summer League. There's like some stuff to his game. I don't think, and we'll maybe talk about this more later on, physically, I think he has a lot of work to do. And I think he's a guy that will look better next to Jokic, as everyone will.
Shocker.
But if we just talk about these minutes, I'm curious if Zeke and Duran get a chance. Like, what is Adelman thinking right now? That those guys have to earn into the rotation or that it's just open and that they're on equal footing? I'm curious.
Is there, and I would say I would doubt this, but is there a directive from the front office? Hey, play this guy early. We're trying to move him.
I mean, I feel like you've tried that.
Yeah.
Haven't we tried that the last 2 years?
The thing is, you can't play him unless you feel confident about the minutes he's
and you
getting.
can only play him next to Jokic.
That's what I'm saying.
We know that.
Or yeah, if you're playing him instead of Peyton as he's your backup 4, and then you finagle it so he gets Jokic minutes.
I am not the way I'm betting on Peyton this year, and I'm kind of just willing to put
I
my
don't
name
think
on
Ben
it.
Tenzer's that kind of guy.
Me either.
Especially at this point right now.
I agree.
Well, and coming off of last year, right? You don't want to do anything. But I just more mean
Could you imagine?
immediate friction.
My way or the highway, pal. There are conditions around here.
But I do want to. Here's what I'll say. I
Executive
think
vice
Peyton Watson
president.
gets both the bump in that he's older and he's better than he was. Is that would address all those different things. Zeke Naji checks a lot of those same boxes, but I don't quite feel I'm not as confident. Like this is a year that maybe he has more confidence. Maybe not. Did we tell you guys though the weirdest thing about Summer League?
No, he
Eric
did
told
not.
us, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Him and Pickett.
Him and Pickett just not with the team at all the games, but just away. Very strange.
We
to
were
me.
wondering if like there weren't any more courtside seats available.
I mean, there were so many just friends of people. You know, like
it seemed like they could have made.
they could have. I don't know. That was weird. But Zeke is a guy that it wouldn't totally shock me if he actually came out and had a good stint. I'm just not betting on it.
Dude, how good Zeke is just directly correlated to how many minutes he plays next to Nikola.
Maybe it's that
That's
simple.
exactly what he looked good last year when at the 4 next to Jokic.
What about this one? Adelman has really teased, without fully coming out and say it, that maybe there's a twin bigs lineup. Why not play Jokic and Big Val together?
Can I just say this feels like the easiest thing to tease and never, ever, ever take down off the shelf? I just want to throw that out there.
If
right
you're
off the
trying
bat.
to,
If he utters the phrase Balkan buddy ball,
They're not Balkan though.
what do you?
He's Baltic. He's Lithuanian.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
So this one wouldn't quite work.
Oh, you're so right.
It's close though.
Thank God.
That way we don't have it. Balkan and Baltic buddy ball.
Baltic buddy ball.
But here's the thing, man. Maybe it was I honestly thought when he said it, they're trying to tell Val it's going to be good. You know, come over here. We'll play you with Jokic. You're not.
You know, he's just like Jokic.
Yeah, but maybe honestly, Adelman really is thinking outside the box. And
Well, it was the Shams tweet that
you're right.
inferred it.
Shams as well.
That's who said it.
Well, he also said it himself when he did the interview.
Oh, he did? I didn't catch
but
that.
but here's the thing, man. I would have never guessed that Şengün and Steven Adams would work. And it did because they were like, we're just going to bully you on the boards. Our offense might get stuck. Jokic offense is never going to get stuck.
Yeah.
And if you told Val's a great rebounder, one of the best in the NBA, like it's not the craziest thing. If you had to save your good offensive players, you know, like, we need Cam and Murray off the, you know what? Let's put Bruce out there, rebounds like a monster. CB rebounds like a monster. And Big Val and Jokic out there, 2 monsters.
If you wanted to match size and rebounding, yes. The counters to me are right off the bat, that's a tough position to be in defensively. You have size, but it's
Zone.
those. There you go.
I don't know, maybe.
Offensively, and I'm actually just throwing this out there. I don't feel like definitively I know the answer. Is there more utility in every minute that Val plays so that Jokic does not have to play? Because one way or another, you will find an iteration with 15 on the floor that works. The more essential thing is making sure the minutes when he's off the floor work.
And yet, though, let's think about going into a series with a team like Oklahoma City, where they have all this versatility defensively. They're so fast. Is Denver going to outfast them? Even passing the ball is hard against them. But if you told me Chet Holmgren has to guard Big Val, you're like, you know what? That's 100% rebound rate. And again, I'm just throwing it out there because I think it's very easy to dismiss as it's too crazy. But I hope Denver is good enough this year that they can experiment with those things. I don't know if this is a thing you do in game 1, week 1, month 1. But if you're number 1 or number 2 in the standings and you feel good about where you're at in January, I just wonder if you're like, you know what? That's what Houston did. They were the 2 seed. And then come January, they were like, you know what?
Different look.
Yeah, let's just throw 2 bigs. Just Steven Adams, try to get every offensive rebound. He's like, all right, mate. No problem.
Yeah.
Julian Strother's the last one. He's the guy that I wonder gets squeezed in this rotation because I think Tim Hardaway Jr. is going to come in. So how does Adelman handle that? I think Julian Strother last year, for whatever reason, was given the green light to dribble through double teams and everything else. Is he given a more restrictive role? He's almost the opposite of Peyton in some ways, where maybe now Adelman's like, hey, man, you're a shooter. Follow Cam. Do what Cam does. Nothing else.
Yeah, are there sort of hybrid shooting guard, point guard duties at all? Ball handling?
Man, that's tough.
The thing is, how different is an actualized version of Strother from Tim Hardaway Jr.? Like, is Tim Hardaway Jr. not just, well, instead of waiting for Julian, let's play this guy who's ready to go?
I think so.
That's a good question.
I personally, I think so. I think Tim Hardaway Jr. is just going to be like quicker decision maker.
And brings what you would hope Julian was bringing to the table.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah. That's an interesting point.
I think right now Strother, whereas I think just a year ago he was in a position, because I think everyone in the organization trusts him and like wants him to be one of the guys because he puts in the work, says
does
the right
everything
things,
right.
does everything right. I think his position just changed. I think it's a steeper uphill climb now back onto the floor for Julian.
sure.
And maybe that makes him, I mean, as we think about Denver and if they need something at the deadline that they feel they don't have, you do look at him as a piece that's like, hey, that might be a guy that teams look at and like.
Yeah, for sure.
So, you know, who knows?
Wizards could be interested. They have every young guy
They
in the
need
league.
more shooting guards. They don't have nearly enough.
Did you see that report from our guy Mark Stein on Adelman's bench?
I did. We should talk about it.
So I had, figured that they have another like front of bench coaching hire to make. It doesn't sound like they are. Stein says that they might be rotating assistant coaches into that spot.
Yeah.
Innovative.
And Ogi Stojakovic will get a lot of reps there.
One would be awesome for Ogie. I really love that guy, and so that's kind of a big opportunity for
but
him.
That would be something that nobody does. Rotating coaches into the front of the bench spot.
So we have what we call the front row, and that's your lead assistant, your number 2, and your number 3.
Yeah.
And everyone operates differently. Sometimes the number 1 is your defensive coordinator, or often whatever it is. They'll have different roles.
Yeah, typically your head coach, offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator, and then
there's like a game plan specialist or something. And that role, that last one, is the one that's rotating. And how I believe is going to operate, or what's been reported, is that it's whatever scout is up. So like you break up the entire league, your entire schedule into different guys. Vote. You're going to take these teams.
Each assistant coach is responsible for scouting,
and then whoever
teams.
scouted is that game moves up to the front row. So
Yeah.
it'd like almost be, hey, you're a front row guy tonight. You got the Rockets
Because you've been assigned this team.
because you've been assigned it.
Yeah.
And all right, let's just get out in front of this, because like all things with the Cronkies, it's both could be a great idea that's new,
Right.
and could work out,
innovative,
and hey, unconventional.
outside the box, unorthodox.
Or it could be, this is definitely the cheaper option.
Yeah, the Nuggets seem to have built a front office that, in the aggregate, has all the functions of front office or an assistant coaching staff may need.
Right.
However, they do seem to have done it without having to give anyone the really juicy promotion.
Here's the thing about the Cronkies, and Eric is on this one, man. It's so funny. They really do, and I think this is true of all industries. They really do look and say, like, well, why do we do things that way? Do we have to?
Right.
And it's like, well, we might look bad if we do it. They don't care. And so it's like a front office. And honestly, we're going to see, this is month 1 of Ben Tenzer and John Wallace. But it does seem like, I really do think this is how it operates, that John Wallace is the basketball and Ben is the business, and they come together to form one person at half the price. And I do wonder if that's how they view this. They're like, why do we always have a third guy who does this? Why don't we just rotate
Why
that guy
can't
around?
4 assistant coaches just combine and do it the same job?
So I think it's fair to be skeptical, because it seems weird, and it certainly
No
seems cheap. But at
team
the
has
same
done
time,
that. I mean, maybe
I'm
I don't
also
know.
like,
I'm not keeping really close tabs on every assistant coach in the league and what their role is, but I feel like no team is doing this.
And it is a very young, because you think Dudley moving up, first time he's been this high up.
Barea.
JJ Barea, first time he's been this high up. And so is there a third elder statesman who's not gunning for power, but it's just like, I've been around the block enough and I'm not trying to be a head coach anymore, but I'll be here to stabilize? No. Instead, it'll be also inexperienced. Not first time in the front row, let alone anything else.
Right.
So.
I think we've gotten great early returns from everyone involved, but there is something interesting about how all the new adults in the room are kind of first timers or inexperienced or sharing some of the responsibilities. There is like the infrastructure of the organization is an X factor right now.
Well, I'll also wonder about this thing. You do that and you get a bunch of guys through, and maybe it gives you a chance to see who did it best. And maybe
like
next
a little
year,
trial run.
Maybe this is a 1-year thing, and then it's like, okay, Ogie was the best. He moves up a chair.
Right.
It's entirely possible. Just one super chat. What's wrong with everybody?
CB 35944 Iowa State. Shout out Monte Morris. Has been a
Shout him
top
out.
5 defense in the last 2 years. Curtis can defend and grind better than Julian Code coming out. Granted, that's not saying much.
Dude, Iowa State has produced some NBA players lately. You know what?
Turned into a real program.
It was honestly why I was into Curtis Jones, because I was kind of like, all right, Halliburton, Monte, little point guard.
I mean,
all right.
George Niang.
Monte helped put that program kind of sort of back on the map.
Marcus Pfizer.
So yeah, Curtis Jones defends,
Killer.
has a ton of range. I mean, these are things that can get
Curtis
you on the
Jones is
floor.
saucy, man.
These are things that can get you on the floor.
Man, who else was on this team back in the day? Do you guys remember?
The Pfizer team.
Yeah, I'm trying to look it up here, because there were some. We can't go home yet, Alyssa. We have to wait here. I have to look up the '98 team, because they had some
give
players.
me some names.
They had some players, man. They had some players. Who else was on it? Maybe they didn't have any players.
We'll do
You're
live.
probably
Hold
thinking
on.
of one of those other Big 12 teams, like the Kansas.
I'm
team or
telling you, they had
something.
another guy. I'm trying to find it. No, maybe they had no other guys. Damn it! How could I be so wrong about this? Jamal Tinsley, got it. There was Jamal
Tinsley,
Tinsley. I
of
knew there was
course.
one more guy.
Obviously.
Was Royce,
You guys
was
are all
Royce
wrong.
White in Iowa State?
Royce
guy?
White was Iowa State, yeah.
Everybody,
Didn't
thanks so
wanna
much for
fly, though.
watching. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Hit that like button on the way out.
We all silly like the mayor.